Welcome to this season preview for Carolina Crown. Thanks for tuning in. Carolina Crown is from Fort Mill, South Carolina. They were the 2013 Drum Corps International World Champions, the 1993 DCI Division II World Champions. They have been a DCI finalist consistently every single season since 1995. Last season, they came in 4th place with a 95.500 final score on season's end. A show that was not total disappointment, but a bit of a disappointment. Because, of course, when you are at the level that Carolina Crown has gotten to, you want to win every year or medal, and falling just short of that is not exactly what you want. But I think Carolina Crown could come back this year and definitely get in there and possibly play around with some of those cores once again, Santa Clara Vanguard, Blue Devils, those cores. So let's go through the schedule for Carolina Crown. They'll start off their season June 20th at the DCI Tour Premiere in Detroit, Michigan. That event can be seen in movie theaters nationwide. Visit fathomevents.com to find your local theater. They then will follow that event with an off day on June 21st, then 3 consecutive shows in Madison, Wisconsin, Zionsville, Indiana, and Evansville, Indiana. They then, between the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, they'll participate in the Music for All Summer Symposium, where numerous high school band members from around the nation meet up and practice with Carolina Crown, and really one of Music for All's premier events of the year. Carolina Crown, they'll then go on to Rockford, Illinois the following night for Show of Shows. They then will travel down south to their home show in Lexington, South Carolina. A lot of off days in there, though, and they really have that numerous times throughout their tour. They have 3 big gaps between shows. This is the first of those between this June 29th show and then July 5th. Good, solid time for rehearsals and kind of using the judges' input from the beginning of the season to make some changes and come back out on July 5th. Then July 6th, they'll be at DCI Orlando in Orlando, Florida, a flow marching streamed event this season. So Carolina Crown's next event after that show in Orlando will be in Valdosta, Georgia on July 8th, Drums Across America Valdosta edition. They then have another pretty solid block of rehearsal time in between then and DCI Memphis in Memphis, Tennessee, where they'll meet back up with the Boston Crusaders, and they also will meet up with Santa Clara Vanguard for the first time. That is going to be a very interesting show to watch if Carolina Crown is in that top 3 conversation this year, as they should be. July 15th, Music on the Move in Bentonville, Arkansas. Then July 16th, this show here, DCI Broken Arrow, is the best event this season other than finals and probably the regionals. That show has the top 8 cores from last season plus Phantom Regiment, another finalist. As mad as I am that we can't watch it on Flow Marching, because that would be great, it's good because we can look at the scores on July 17th and be like, well, here's where the World Championship conversation stands today. I mean, you have the top 8 cores. That especially is good if Phantom steps up their game this year, or if those top 8 or those same top 8, because that show, you don't get one of those every year because there's always a core that takes off a night, like the Blue Devils will take off instead of being at that show. But everybody's at that show. That is the premier event of tour this year, other than the regionals. July 18th, then DCI North Texas in Denton, Texas. July 19th, DCI Katy in Katy, Texas. July 20th, DCI Southwestern Championship in San Antonio, and then they'll wrap up their 4 Texas tour shows July 22nd with DCI Mesquite in Mesquite, Texas. So after Carolina Crown wraps up Texas tour, they'll have a few days off, and then they'll travel to Murfreesboro, Tennessee for the Masters of the Summer Music Games on July 26th. 2 straight shows after that, so 3 straight in total. July 27th and July 28th, you have the DCI Southeastern Championship, the second regional of the tour this year, and also Night Beat on July 28th, Carolina Crown's second home show. July 30th and August 1st, then the Summer Music Games of Southwest Virginia and the CYO Nationals. Then they'll be at the DCI Eastern Classic on Saturday night this year, August 3rd in Allentown. August 4th, Drums Along the Waterfront in Buffalo, New York. August 5th, Tour of Champions Akron in Akron, Ohio. And finally, the DCI World Championships in Indianapolis, Indiana, August 8th through the 10th of this season. So Carolina Crown has selected 3 drum majors to lead the corps this season. They are listed here. Andrew Morrison and Michael St. Ors return from last season, and Doug Bell joins them this year. So when you are one of the best corps in drum corps, you have a lot of staff, a lot of important staff, and just a lot of staff in general. I'm going to go through the main staff list for Carolina Crown. This list has changed tremendously since 2016. 2016, you have the whole design team that had recently designed Relentless and Inferno, and they moved to Boston, and they do the Boston Crusaders shows. Carolina Crown had to hire mostly a new artistic team. And that's not an easy thing to do and still finish third, and that's what they did. I'm going to run down this list here. New faces from 2016, but obviously now we're in 2019. This is their 3rd year, most of them, and maybe even longer for most of the ones that aren't new. So, here we go. So, Jim Coates, Executive Director for Carolina Crown. Rick Subel, he is the Artistic Director and Production Director, that is. He is the Director, Designer, and Founder of Paramount Winter Guard from Atlanta, Georgia, a very successful WGI Winter Guard group. He marched at the Cadets, Blue Devils, and Star of Indiana. He was in Blast Broadway musical as well. Michael Klesch is music director and arranger for Carolina Crown this season. Jeff Saktig is visual designer. He marched at the Cadets. He was a staff member there for 29 years. He wrote that insane Cadets 2015 drill. The last about minute and a half, 2 minutes of that show is insane. Even if you have seen it, look it up again because that's just tremendous. He's also the visual designer for a Japanese drum corps called the Yokohama Scouts. Tom Hannum, he is percussion director and arranger for Carolina Crown. He has taught at the University of Massachusetts since 1984. He's the coordinator of the Marimba Band and Marimba Ensemble program there, as well as associate director of the Minuteman Marching Band. He has worked with the Cadets and Star of Indiana, and he was a charter member of the design team for Blast. Jim Ancona, he is front ensemble arranger and supervisor. He marched at the Cadets, and he has also worked with them, as well as the Cavaliers, Santa Clara Vanguard, and many others. He holds a bunch of different positions at the University of Delaware, including assistant professor of music, director of the basketball pep band, co-director of the symphonic band, and assistant band director there. So, a pretty large portfolio at Delaware for Jim Ancona. So then we have Rick Sullivan, sound designer, arranger, and supervisor for Carolina Crown. Travis Peterman, battery arranger and percussion caption supervisor, that is. And finally on this list, Matt Harloff, he is the brass caption supervisor. He marched at Star of Indiana and worked with the cadets before he came to Carolina Crown. He came to Crown in 2003. He's currently the assistant director for all 5 concert bands at Avon High School, one of the most successful bands in the nation based out of Indiana, and director of the Avon High School WGI Winds Group. The second part of this list here features more of the very important staff for Carolina Crown, the lead staff, I should say. Starting off at the top with Sean McElroy, percussion ensemble coordinator. He marched and taught at the cadets. He has taught and designed for many high school and independent groups in the Denver area, including the Blue Knights programs. He's the current drill designer for George Mason University Indoor, a group that totally shot up on the WGI Percussion Independent World placement list this season. Dan Shack is battery manager for Carolina Crown. Marcus Newdigate is front ensemble coordinator. He marched Phantom in 2011 and 2012. He's worked with many ensembles, including the Mandarins, Gateway Percussion, Monarch Independent. He is also an innovative percussion educator. Kevin Morrison is visual caption supervisor this year. He performed with the Spirit of Jacksonville State University back when Spirit of Atlanta was called that. He has also worked with Jersey Surf, the Cadets, and Boston Crusaders. He was the Spirit of Atlanta visual caption head last year in their breakthrough year. He has also worked with Park Vista High School in Florida, Nation Ford High School in South Carolina, and he is a judge for the Florida Marching Band Cooperative. Aaron England, color guard caption supervisor. Lisa Ha is the color guard caption manager, and Chris Cook is lead choreographer for Carolina Crown this season. So the preseason schedules listed here for Carolina Crown. They move into Gardner-Webb University in Boiling Springs, North Carolina. On May 18th, they stay at that residency until June 15th for spring training. Then June 16th and 17th, they have rehearsal at Nation Ford High School in Fort Mill, South Carolina. June 16th, preview show in Fort Mill at Nation Ford. That's always a good show every year because a video always leaks on YouTube one way or another, and that's our first look at Crown every year next to the theater. June 18th, they have rehearsal at Lafayette Senior High School in Lexington, South Carolina. And then June 19th, they have rehearsal at Waterford Ketterington High School in Waterford Township, Michigan, before they head to the DCI tour premiere on June 20th. So, Carolina Crown's 2019 production. It is entitled Beneath the Surface. Really, I can't tell you any more about this show because really the fact is we don't know a lot about this show, and I don't assume we will. Carolina Crown really always kind of releases the show, releases the music, and it's left for you to judge for a month, or in this case, a week or two, that they've announced it up to the DCI tour premiere. Judging on what people have said and judging on the graphics here, my best judgment, or my best guess, is that either the beneath the surface thing has something to do with the ocean, like water, whatever, but I want to direct your attention to the left side here with this triangle thing that has a bunch of different, like, mathematical stuff on it. I'm not going to go any deeper into this because I don't know anything about this show, to be honest, other than the Repertoire that I'll get to in a minute. But I think Carolina Crown is in a place where they could go up and win. They could go down 5th or 6th. I don't think any further. But really, they're just in this is a big year for Carolina Crown, needless to say. You've had a design team. This is their third year, pretty much. Third in 2017, fourth in 2018. I don't think they can go down, but with so many cores improving what they've got, such as the Boston Crusaders, who are, in my head, one of the very possible top 3 candidates this year. I don't know if Carolina Crown can go up. Now, if they come out with something we've never seen before, like some cores will, I mean, we saw something like Vanguard show last year before. It was just that it just seems so fresh, and it seems so kind of original. And it was a show really not with a huge thing behind it, but instead it was something that really you had to look into pretty deep to really get what they were, the message they were trying to provide. Carolina Crown, this looks like it's going to be a show that maybe you'll have to watch 2-3 times to be able to get it, but I think I'll have to see a little bit more from some other cores first before I go and make any sort of prediction with Carolina Crown. If you've seen the Vic Firth marching Learn the Music videos with the Carolina Crown percussion, it seems as though the drumline and pit, I guess, are very into it, but I don't know if their music, is as hard as the Boston Crusaders or the Cadets, just judging off of the 2 other Learn the Music videos I've seen. I don't know if they're, because on the judging sheets, there's the content part and there's the achievement part. The content part is the music. The achievement part is how well they perform it. I think achievement they'll have no problem with. I don't really know if many of these cores will have problems with that. But I think some cores are going to have problems with the content piece. And cores that are going to have problems with the content piece do not include the Boston Crusaders and the Cadets, just based off of those 2, just using these 3 cores. Carolina Crown, that music's definitely challenging, but I don't know if it's necessarily at that level of where some of these other cores have their music written. So the last part of the season preview, the 2019 repertoire for Carolina Crown. Read the 4 pieces here, dive in just to a few of them. First up, Team in Oblak, Dark Clouds by Christopher Tin. Frolic from Rabbit and Rogue by Danny Elfman. Gabriel's Oboe by Ennio Morricone. And Busimis, a traditional folk dance and tune by the Swingles feat Trichy Sankaran. So, Carolina Crown, this is another repertoire which I think we're seeing more and more as the years kind of go on here, and as innovation keeps moving forward and the direction of the activity changes. Many groups, you can use any group, use WGI, BOA, DCI, it doesn't really matter. Definitely DCI leading the pack on this, but they're all kind of using, and I don't know if Carolina Crown's necessarily the best example of this, but many cores are using music that both is not familiar, but kind of recognizable, and you can, that you can connect to what the message is the core is bringing through the music. And also, cores are starting to use more and more of a very diverse repertoire. We have the Boston Crusaders this year. They're coming out with a different piece from each different genre of music, and I think it'll make for a pretty good show. Carolina Crown, you've got kind of the film music from Danny Elfman. You've got a very good ballad in Gabriel's Oboe. You've got that Christopher Tin piece that Vanguard Cadets used 2 years ago, and that show was one of my favorites in 2017. And then you've got this traditional folk dance and tune at the end. It'll just be interesting to see how Carolina Crown executes this year, and if they can jump up the standings, and if they can, how high can they get? So thank you for watching this season preview. Got just a few things. Make sure to visit my website, drumcorpscentral.weebly.com, for all the latest updates from the DCI and DCA summer tours, scores, schedules, leaderboards, and more. Can all be found at my personal website about all things drum corps. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DrumCorpsGeek, and subscribe to me on YouTube, Drum Corps Central, where this video and more will be posted. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day.